I've been in the office furniture industry for nearly 20 years and used monitor arms almost that entire time. These are my picks for the best monitor arms at every major price point. Who says a little bit of money can't go a long way these days? My $30 pick, the North Bayou Single Spring, has over 17,000 reviews on Amazon with an average score of 4.5 out of 5 stars. With that many ratings and 90% of them being 4 stars and up, it's pretty impressive. And according to Amazon, over 3,000 of these have been sold in the past month. Now, if you're looking for something that's cheap and works, this is definitely my recommendation. It is rated to fit most monitors from 17 inches up to 30 inches diagonally with a max capacity just shy of 20 pounds. The weight capacity is about 25% higher than the next nearest competitor, the Huano single mount. The North Bayou features a cable management system, but it's a bit flimsy on the upper portion of the arm and somewhat cumbersome on the bottom half. Now, if you're in the mindset of setting it and forgetting it, this will likely do as much as you need to keep your wires tidy. With all that said, it is important to remember that you're only paying $30 for a monitor arm, and expectations should be kept fairly low. If you're planning to push the weight capacity or have a monitor that's expensive, you might want to consider jumping up to the next price point. Besides the quality of the internal mechanism, the cheap clamp system would be my next point of failure that I'd be concerned with if you push the capacity of the North Bayou. The Walle Single Premium is my $50 pick and an upgrade from the $30 pick for a few reasons. On Amazon, it currently has a rating of 4.4 out of 5 stars with over 4,000 reviews, and according to Amazon, has sold more than 500 in the past month. The Walle Premium can support monitors up to 32 inches diagonally that weigh up to 17.6 pounds. This means you can technically hold 2-inch larger monitors than the North Bayou, but it also has to weigh about 2 pounds less. Now, even though the North Bayou can technically support more weight than the Walle, I believe that the Walle is better built. Looking first at the C-clamp mount, the thickness of the steel, the better connection of the clamp to the arm, and the added depth of the threading for the adjustment screw make the Walle foundation more solid. The Walle also includes cable management that I think is a bit more intuitive than the North Bayou. The cables can be easily routed through the cable system without requiring a screwdriver, making this process much easier for you if you plan to make changes to your setup more often. If you have an ultra-wide screen or use a TV as a monitor, the Vivo Premium HD is where I'd recommend starting your search. This is my pick for a $100 monitor arm, and it's the first arm in the list to qualify as being heavy-duty. It currently has just under 1,000 reviews with an average score of 4.3 out of 5. Now, Amazon mentions that more than 1,000 of these have sold in the past month, so it's definitely a popular item. To start though, the build quality on the Vivo HD is much better than all of the other entry-level products we've talked about up to this point, including the entry-level Vivo arms. The construction is made up of mostly steel and aluminum. This includes the pivoting head feature for the arm. One of the first things though that really stood out to me was the clear cable management system. I personally don't love that it's clear since most of the wires on my setup are black, and I prefer cable management to sort of blend in versus stand out. That said, I did find that the cable management system was very functional. Looking closer at the reviews for the Vivo HD on Amazon, I was a bit surprised to see that some users complained that this arm didn't support their ultra-wide monitors. Now, this could potentially be an issue with some arms arriving defective, but according to a rep I spoke to at Vivo, they mentioned that it has been more often than not user error adjusting the tension properly. The good news, Vivo is a US-based company, which most of the other cheap alternatives in this list are not, and are happy to help you if you reach out to them directly. The Vivo HD arm is not the most beautiful I've used, but it is quite functional and definitely heavy-duty enough that I'd feel more than comfortable leaving my expensive monitor attached to it. Once you've reached the $200 price range, you've entered into what I consider to be top-of-the-line monitor arms. Now, my $200 pick here, the Ergotron LX, has over 14,000 reviews on Amazon with an average score of 4.6 out of 5, and more than 500 have been purchased in just the last month. The Ergotron LX is the least expensive premium monitor arm that I would recommend. Now, some might say the Amazon Basic should be that arm, but it doesn't appear that Ergotron is selling it to Amazon any longer. I love how heavy-duty the arm and all of its components feel. The finish feels more industrial than home use, and it's durable and unlikely to show signs of wear during the arm's entire lifetime. Getting into the specs, Ergotron rates this arm for traditional widescreen monitors up to 34 inches diagonally and from 7 pounds up to 25 pounds. The desk clamp on this one though is super solid and significantly better than the $30 and $50 alternatives. The LX clamp mount is able to attach to desks that are 0.4 inches up to 2.4 inches thick, with the grommet mount fitting thicknesses up to 2.25 inches. Now, adjustments with this arm are smooth, and we've had zero issues with the LX we've been using for almost a year now. Rest assured though, because this arm is backed with a warranty that's 10 years long. My only really complaint about the LX is in the cable management itself, or the lack thereof, I guess you could say. While the lower portion of the cable management is solid, the upper arm uses cheap zip ties and sort of hooks into place. When you want to move the arm around, these can fall off, and honestly, they just sort of look cheap because they are. The Ergotron HX is my pick for $400, and you can tell that they have a solid lineup of premium monitors with the back-to-back picks here at the higher price points. Now, the reason you'd consider stepping up to the HX is for the added weight capacity or size of your monitor. For premium monitor arms, this is one of, if not the most popular option for ultra-wide monitors or TVs being used as a monitor. Now, similar to the LX, the HX has an average score on Amazon of 4.6 out of 5 stars with more than 3,000 overall reviews. As of this video, Amazon says that more than 300 of these have been purchased in the last month, which doesn't necessarily sound like a lot compared to the cheaper alternatives, but considering the price point, that is pretty significant. While the LX model gives that industrial vibe, the HX is without question industrial strength throughout. The base that connects to the desk itself is overbuilt and leaves me with zero concern for long-term use with large expensive monitors. The matte finish has some light texture and feels exactly the same as the LX model. Now the components are made from much heavier material and should have no problem holding up over the lifetime of this product. Looking closer at the head of the mount, it has a massive spring built in with some tension adjustment available. Now unfortunately there isn't enough for lighter monitors like my 42-inch LG OLED to work with this particular monitor arm. The weight of it was just too light and the arm actually wanted to constantly pivot the front of the monitor up towards me. On the other hand, it works perfectly with our 49-inch Samsung ultrawide. The quick release head on the arm also makes this arm much easier to attach massive monitors without additional help if it's not available. Even though the HX comes with a better upper cable management system than the cheap zip ties on the LX, it still feels incomplete with the use of Velcro straps to hold your wires in place, leaving a bit to be desired at this price point, and it just honestly feels like it's a bit overlooked. If money's not an option, the Human Scale M10 does everything better than the alternatives in this list, including looking amazing. The M10 was an easy pick for me in the no-budget category, but at $571, it could definitely be more expensive than some of your monitors. Now, this product isn't currently sold on Amazon except in an open box format, which naturally comes with poor reviews since it isn't accurately advertised there, so beware. Now, if you're at all worried about a catastrophic failure with an expensive ultra-wide monitor, there's absolutely no need with concern with this M10. The arm itself is well built, starting with the heavy-duty clamps that mount to the desk surface. And much like the Ergotron, Human Scale's core competency here is in ergonomic products like monitor arms, and they're one of the best in the business. The biggest difference, though, between the M10 and the Ergotron HX is the completeness of how the product actually looks. I think the Ergotron has that more industrial look, while the Human Scale is more of a high-end design. Now, this isn't a surprise, though, since that's one of the areas that Human Scale focuses. It didn't shock me that Human Scale did a much better job streamlining their cable management as well. Still not sure which monitor arm to buy, if any at all? Check out my Do Not Buy a Monitor Arm Until You Watch this video next to learn about the common problems with monitor arms.